What I also found very interesting earlier in today's conversation, you talked about levels in life. And in your book, you also talk about the seasons in life. And maybe we can choose either and define that a little bit. And I would be very interested if we go for the seasons one. Which season of your life are you currently in, and why is that so? But we could, of course, translate that for the levels as well.
Yeah, that's a great question, Ismail. What season of life I'm in right now? Um, Personally, I think it's I'm in that season where I'm looking to add value, right? And that's what prompted me to start this my podcast. That's what prompted me to write my book. It's really adding value. It's really impacting lives. It's really finding opportunities, even in the workplace, right? What moment can I find to add value, to bring a little hope, right? And like that's more philosophical, more personal development related. But um, personally, it's really finding. You go through life. I mean, there were times when I was doing work because I just wanted a job. I wanted to get paid. After a while, it wasn't more about that anymore. It wasn't more about the money anymore. Money is important. We all need that. We all have responsibilities, right? But I think I'm at that point where I want meaning. I want everything I do to have meaning, right? I don't want a job just because. I want to have the opportunity to be able to impact lives, right? To give back. So even thinking of going back to school, not just for the sake of it, but um, making sure that whatever I'm studying now or getting is directly related to my mission, my purpose in life, which is really to help people become better, help challenging those problems and mindsets, right? That's where I'm in right now. And I'll just say a lot of people now are also going through that season of life where they're questioning the importance of what they do now. The pandemic has taught all of us that life is short. Many people are making meaningful decisions. People are, those who are working from home now are moving from, one place to the other, maybe closer to family, and finding that those things are more important to them, right? So that's for me, that's where I'm at right now. It's all about making those meaningful decisions, adding value, if that makes sense. I know it's rambling a little bit, but it's really how do I add value, right, in this stage of life that I'm in right now? Life is short. Tomorrow is not guaranteed anyone. How do I make sure that I'm emptying myself of my gifts, of my talent? So if I'm not here, people can say, wow, he impacted lives, right? That's where I'm right now. It's philosophical, I know it's deep, but that's where I'm right now. It's about adding value. It's about impacting people. It's about impacting relationships, like what we're doing right here on this podcast. I don't get paid for my podcast, right? There may have been a time where no, and people say, well, you're not doing that for money, you can make money. Yes, money's all great, but for me, it's really about giving, adding value, helping make someone's life better. That's where I'm right now. That's the season of life I'm in right now.
And that make perfect sense, definitely. And I have a follow up question for that one because you said you want to create value to begin with, and you've mentioned relationships and lives a couple of times. So, for this creating value, what importance does a community play? And the community could be the neighborhood where you have been living for some time, could be your spiritual community, could be your family. I don't know what comes to mind.
Relationships are important. I think at the end of the day, we're all dependent on one another, right? It's all about the relationships. We can chase after all the things in life at the expense of our relationships, right? One of the guests that I had, and I keep bringing all these examples because I think it relates. He came on my podcast. He was a very success. He is still. I mean, he owned one of the biggest spas in Singapore, making several millions of dollars per year. And he shared with me, Ismail, that one day he was busy running from one meeting to the other. He had a very important client to meet. He got into his car, started his car, and was about to lift his foot off of the ground into his car, and his foot wouldn't move. He was stuck. At that moment, he suffered a stroke, and this has been 10 years. He's still not fully recovered yet. And he came and he was sharing, talking about some of these important things in life. And I asked him, what he would have done differently, knowing what he knew now, what he knows now. And one of the things he said was spending more time with his family, spending more time with his daughters, which kind of wow, that resonated because in that moment he was making the money and trying to build this conglomerate, making all the money, but some things were suffering. And so when you ask about community relationships, this is why it matters. And I'm not saying that we don't chase money. I'm not saying that we don't focus on building our finances and all that. Those are important, but let's not do that at the expense of the things that truly matter, right? Money can come and go, but relationships, when the hurricane Ian hit Florida a couple months ago here, so I was watching it and seeing all these homes, beautiful homes and boats and cars and yachts this destroyed, right? These are things that people that spend their lives working for, right? People's retirement homes. And that's nothing wrong with that. But there was one rather emotional story. There was this woman whose house had been destroyed, and she was in one of these rescue boats, and um, neighbors were going around, the community, just checking, knocking on doors, just to make sure that people were. At that moment, Ismail, she said that mattered more than anything else. The house, the cars, and the property, the furniture, and all of that were gone. But the only thing she had left was those relationships. That person coming and knocking on the door, checking on her, making sure she was okay. That was powerful. Relationships matter. And I think we all have it backwards, right? We all put that money and all that before. But when all those things are gone, what do we have? What do we have? Community, relationships, people. They matter.
So if you like that, make sure to check out the full-length episode here and leave a subscribe. Thank you.